Hello everyone, and welcome to Poetry Corner. I'm Grace. I am the host. I'll be reading poems from different people on the internet, as well as a few classic poems and some poems of my own. Um, right now, I'm just kind of waiting for people to show up. I also just want to ask once, I guess nobody's going to hear it once they get here. I want to check on the audio. I think I fixed the setting that had the audio so quiet on Twitch, but I don't know for sure. Hello, it looks like I've got a viewer. Is the audio sounding okay? If it's not, I can fix it really quick. But just let me know, I'd appreciate it. Um, but yeah, I'm just waiting. I'll wait probably until a couple more people show up to start reading actual poetry, and then I'll dive right in. I hope you're doing well. It's finally starting to look like spring where I am. There's a couple of buds coming out. There's a little bit more, just kind of like a green mist over all the trees, and it's very, very beautiful. And I'm really grateful for it because between spring being the way that it is where I live, where it's very like muddy and gray, and not a lot grows for a very long time, and this whole quarantine situation, it kind of felt like time froze for a while, and now time is finally getting unfrozen, and I'm very grateful for that. So I might actually post some pictures later of a little bit of the springtime foliage popping up. Um, but yeah, it looks like we've got another viewer. Hello. And another one. Hello. Um, I'm glad you guys are here. I'm just talking a little bit about the springtime. It's still a little low. Is it better than it usually is? Also, hi Jennifer. Thank you so much for letting me know and for tuning in. I'm gonna mess with something really quick. I'm gonna mess with a setting and see if it helps. Um, Let me just do that. All right. Did that make the volume any better? I'm still kind of getting the hang of the screaming thing. Hello, hello. How are you? I'm so glad you're here. Also, if I'm reading one of your poems today, please let me know um, who you are so I can introduce you properly. Because a lot of times people's usernames don't match their Tumblr names. Um, but yeah, just let me know. I'm very glad to see you guys here. And now that we have a little bit of a crowd, um, I think I'll read my first poem that I'm gonna read today. Uh, this one is hello. How are you? Hello, Genevieve. I'm so glad you're here. I'll make sure to read your poem early in the stream so that if you have to run off for anything, you'll still catch it. It'll probably be the second poem I read actually. Um, but first I'm gonna read one of mine. Um, this one is called Tea, and I said a few nights ago I was doing some questions and I said I was going to read a couple poems that were about people. Um, and this one is about one of my friends. It's called Tea. You drink from the same mug every time you come to my house. Hot tea steeped in the bard's most potent insults. Next time, I might hand you a mug of flowers or dreams instead. Um, that's just a simple little poem. I love this friend a lot, but the kind of the lore behind this poem, I guess, is that I have a mug of Shakespearean insults that my mom got me a really long time ago. Not a really long time ago. It was a while ago. I've had it for longer than I've lived where I live right now, and that's been a hot minute. But uh, he he always reaches for that mug, and he's somebody that's a little hard on himself sometimes. Um, but yeah, hello, hello. Um, I'm so glad you're here. We just talked. Did we talk today? I think we talked today. Um, but yeah, so that's the lore there. And now I'm going to read Genevieve's poem. This is a beautiful poem, and it captured something about that I really related to. And also, if you follow Genevieve of the Wood on Tumblr, she's an absolute sweetheart and a really talented poet. And I one of the reasons why I do this is because I love sharing people's words that I love with um, everyone, and Genevieve is no exception. Um, or Jennifer, I guess. But yeah, it's tough with the writer names and the person names. You know how it goes. But anyway, here's the poem. This poem is called "My Poems Are Social Distancing from My Writing Brain." I am falling asleep, and they are swirling and etching a new pathway into my consciousness. Or are they children in a playground, pointing, laughing, circling me with phrases and metaphors I cannot get to stay? They are like tissue paper butterflies floating away from these puckish beings as soon as they speak them to life. Frustrated, the circular dance continued in dreams, and I tried to join these neuronal spirits, but then I found the truest reason why the words escaped. One child turned to me. Their skin came off like a slip, and two burning obsidians for eyes were in my reflection, and I saw myself, wings and talons and a beak that dismembered thousands of infestations of lies that had tried to nest in this mind. She released a cry, and in this space, all the impish children vibrated and vaporized. But I was upset because I never heard this manifestation scream. I heard a voice say, "If I gave you the words, it wouldn't matter. You are too afraid to use them." And she flew off, and I felt the familiar scratching of my most covert, hidden, and elusive lie. I am waiting with pen and paper on my nightstand, and a cat who whips his tail waiting for prey on my windowsill. Um, so yeah, that's a gorgeous poem. I absolutely love it, and I love the imagery. And I'm sorry for the motorcycles. I don't know if you heard the motorcycles, but it's a sunny day, and motorcycling is one of the few things that you can do with your helmet on already and actually get around places. So a lot of people have been zooming by. But yeah, I absolutely love it. Thank you. I've been practicing my reading voice, so I'm glad it came across well. Um, I think that I'm going to read. I got. I only lined up. Oh, I thought I had another one. Hmm. I thought I had two more classic poems that I was going to read today, but I guess I've only got the one. Oh, I think I accidentally posted the other one instead of. I save these in my drafts on my side Tumblr, so I can like read them and then post them because I want to share everybody's work on my side Tumblr as well. And I think I accidentally posted one instead of just putting it there because it was a problem. But yeah, this is a poem by Gerard Manley Hopkins. Gerard Manley Hopkins was a Victorian poet. He was also a Jesuit priest. I went to a Jesuit college, so he was a very big deal. He was a big deal at my school. He wasn't that big of a deal. Literally, he was up there, but he wasn't like up there. But there's a lot that I like about his work, and uh, it kind of feels weirdly like home because I associate his work so much with the college that I went to, and still go to for grad school. But it's different. This poem is called "Carrion Comfort." No, I'll not carrion comfort, despair, not feast on thee. Not untwist, slack they may be, these last strands of man in me, or, most weary, cry I can no more. I can something, hope, wish day come, not choose not to be. But ah, oh, thou terrible, why wouldst thou root on me thy ring-whirled right-foot rock, lay a lion limb against me, scan with darks and devouring eyes my bruised bones, and fan, oh, in terms of tempest, me heaped there, me frantic to avoid thee and flee? Why? That my chaff might fly, my grain lie, sheer and clear? Nay, in all that toil, that coil, since seems I kissed the rod, hand rather, my heart low lapped strength, stole joy, would laugh, cheer. Cheer whom, though? The hero whose heaven-handling flung me, foot trod me, or me that fought him? Oh, which one? Is it each one? That night, that year of now done darkness, I, wretch, lay wrestling with my God, my God. I love that. I love that poem. I love the chaos of it, even though I tripped over it a little bit. I love this feeling of fighting with despair. And yeah, it's one of my favorites for that reason. Um, I just realized where. No, never mind. Oh, I think I might have posted it to my main. Alright, hang on just a second. I may have accidentally plagiarized. So I'm going to take care of that on my Tumblr. Make sure I didn't do that. I didn't do that. I didn't accidentally plagiarize. I'm very glad for that. I copied a poem to read, and because I was just using it for personal usage, so I thought I didn't put the proper attribution on it. And I know this is just a small stream, but integrity and publishing integrity, and by extension, like academic integrity, are very important to me. And even though it's a very famous poem, and I don't think anybody in the world would think that I was taking credit for it, I don't want to be in that situation anyway, so I'm glad it's not up there. Now I just gotta get back into my drafts. And I'll read a couple more poems. That's not my drafts. Sorry, this is probably the boring part. Here's my drafts. I'm gonna read one of mine again. This one is kind of a chaptered prose poem, is the best way to describe it. I guess it's called November. I wrote this from a prompt by, hello, I'm glad you're here. I wrote this one from a prompt by July Kings, whose blog is amazing. I've actually got to get in touch with him and see if I can read some of his work, but yeah. Anyway, this came from one of his prompts, and I don't know. It's a mood. You'll see why I wanted to read it. So this one's called November. This month always brings curses along with the blessings. By now, I should have outgrown my surprise at this phenomenon. Maybe next year. The leaves drop and the rain turns to snow, and the government steals the only usable hour of sunshine I can get. I gain a year of wisdom, and I draw my family close and hope that arguments die before they can blossom. Sometimes the unending gray is a comfort. I'm tired. Chapter 2. The Thing Outside My Window. I keep my blinds drawn because the thing outside my window is not a thing at all. It's the noise of the road and the prying glare of the street lights. It's the creak and sway of the berry tree. We used to throw the berries into the road for the cars to crush, laughing all the while. The thing outside the window is my own reflection. I can't make eye contact with myself without worrying that ghosts are looking back at me. My reflection's eyes hold more past than future. I'm tired. Chapter 3. Chamomile. I know exactly what everything will look like when everything is fine. Someday, I'll be in love, and together we'll plant the yard with chamomile. You don't have to mow it, and it blooms for the bees, and I'll be able to make tea from the same leaves we dance on. We will bottle sunshine to tide us over through November's shadows. All that lives outside our window will be what we plant together. When we're tired, we'll hold each other. We'll hold each other. Um, so yeah, that's. I haven't written a ton of prose poems, but I love that one, and even though it's not November right now, I am in kind of a November state of mind, and I don't know. It just kind of is working for me right now. Um, Hello, hello. I'm glad you're here. I think I have one of yours to read lined up. I was gonna read one of yours today, right? It's in my queue. So I'm gonna read that right now. I might have actually read this another time and forgotten to post it, but I'm still gonna read. If you're not on if you're on YouTube, this I'm going to read one of Poet Rex on Tumblr's poems. Sorry. Um, exact Jennifer, I love that analysis that Chamomile me speaks of rest and a kind of acceptance. That's really beautiful, and I think it really fits. So thank you. Thank you for looking into my work right like that. Um, but yeah, I'm gonna read one of Max's poems now. I also wanna when I get done with this, I'm gonna do this right now while I'm rambling. I'm gonna give you guys a link to my Discord community because I just thought of it because Max is in my Discord community and is one of my favorite people in the community. Not that I play favorites; everybody's my favorite in a way. Um, but um, I have this community where people can talk about just poetry and creative work and all kinds of stuff, and I think it's a really special place, and I'd love to be able to keep up with you guys a little bit there, especially because I know that there's some people in the chat who are not in my group. So if you wanna join the club, check the link, and it's just a chat room with a couple different channels. It's a really lovely place. The people there are amazing, and we have a really good time. So I've plugged the Discord. Hopefully you guys will join it. I'd really appreciate it. And without further ado, um, by Poet Rex, who put these pebbles in a pile of God? Then tuck the road in, sheets of rain, 100 years tall, shuddering the duckish west weald with a lullaby hush. Who were you when this place was forest? Chimney in the house of ash. I say again, the doors are closed. I will repeat myself until they open. No prophet is welcomed in his hometown. I am drumming at your window. Forgive me. The sky was not always this black, empty scenery of an afterthought. Once we slept beneath the stars. I remember nothing but our feet in the salt flat, blade of a shoulder to cry on. It is a dry bone, dust, dull lunacy of a mote of dust. Uh, it is a really gorgeous, gorgeous poem. Thank you for letting me read it. Um, I I really appreciate everybody lending me your work to lend my voice to back. It's a really lovely thing. There's something magical about it, and I'm glad that I can give voice to your words for a couple more people to hear as well as see. Um, yeah, I yeah, that's the thing is that the visual and the audio of poetry always there's the way that they line up is it's interesting. I don't have a better word for it right now. Um, but yeah, I'm gonna read another one of mine. Um, this one is called Irish Breakfast Tea. I only put a couple poems in. A few days ago I was taking questions on my Tumblr and I said that I was going to share some poems that I wrote about people. This one's called Irish Breakfast Tea, and this one's about my mom. My mom is a super cool person, and she went for months. She went traveling all around Europe, and she had some really magical experiences in Ireland, especially. But she was one of those people who would to maximize her time of adventure. Uh, she'd get on the train and she'd take a night train and she'd sleep on the train and end up in just a completely different place just so she could like go somewhere. But she's super cool, and yeah. So this poem is kind of about my mom, and it's also well you'll see. It's not very long, but it's called Irish Breakfast Tea. I can only make tea properly one of every 3 times. When I do, the flavor whisks me home to the tea my mother made me. She learned tea's secret on a quest, rebuilding her heart, wandering in Ireland. There was no room at the inn, but a woman down the road offered a refuge and a maternal affection over a cup of tea. The key is in the way you add the milk and the sugar. In balance, the sweetness dances with the bitterness instead of drowning it. Um, See, I love stumbling over my own words. But I don't know. This is a favorite poem of mine. And yeah, my mom's really cool, and she had a cool experience in Ireland that has ramifications on simple little things about my life to this day. Um, and it has definitely affected what feels like home. Um, I have a couple more poems I'm still gonna read. We're keeping it a little short today. I'm helping a friend with a podcast for an assignment, and I have to reread some stuff and get some stuff ready so I can be like sharp and fresh. I don't know if the podcast is ever going to be available, but if it is, I guess I'll let you guys know. But probably this is going to be like 10 more minutes, and then I'm going to be gone. But it's nice having you guys here. Um, this is a poem by Jonas W. Jonas W. Poetry. Right now, if you're a poet, he's doing a series of lockdown prompts on his blog. He didn't ask me to advertise this, but I noticed that that's something that he's doing, and a lot of his prompts are really cool. Uh, so if you are feeling a little lost for words and you want some prompts, he's got some cool ones, and some people have already made some really beautiful stuff with those prompts. And I just remembered it because he made this from one of his own lockdown prompts. But yeah, so that's I know most of the people I've got in the audience right now are writers, and um, if you want a little bit of something to write about, go ahead. This one is called Virgin Forest. Strike out beyond the virgin forest that preserves growth as always known. Those slow oaths made at earth, like an oak shielding stones beneath which lays hide, with no felt urge to evolve some bout afresh. What opportunity meets one reaching, yet rooted? Um, so yeah, I really like that poem, and Jonas is great. And if you need some prompts, he's got them. I don't have prompts. I'm probably going to use some prompts later to actually come up with something to write. Um, but for now, I don't have prompts. And he does, so head on over there. Um, I have one more guest poem to read, and then I think I'll read the last one of mine. I think I've actually read this one on the stream before, but I don't know, I like it. Um, so this is Aurora Writer's poem. I'm gonna put her URL up too. I think I forgot. The only person who I forgot to plug is Genevieve. So I read Genevieve of the Woods poem earlier, and I'm gonna drop her URL. Um, Jennifer, that's a really good point. Yeah, I'm gonna figure out the thing where you guys can see what people are saying on YouTube and Twitch and vice versa. But Jennifer said that's why it's good to hear other people read your stuff. It's like taking a painting and placing it in a different room, outside in the woods or surrounded by other works. And I think that's very profound and very true. So I wanted to make sure that the broader audience could hear it as well. Let me. Yep. Okay. So here's Genevieve's link, and then I'm about to read Aurora Writer's poem. I've read one of hers before. Aurora is a sweetheart, and it's always nice to read one of her poems. This one's called Telescope, and I'm going to read it in a second, but first, now you guys can actually find each other's work a little bit more because one of the reasons why I'm doing this is to help connect the community a little bit. So if you do want to find each other and give each other a follow, that would be really lovely. I just the the poetry community used to be a lot more close knit and kind of got a little bit more drifty and over the past couple years, and I know I haven't been great about not being. I've been a little drifty away myself, but I want to try to kind of get things a little closer again. Um, so hopefully this is a nice way to do that. But this poem is called Telescope. I'll buy you a telescope, etch our names on the side. Every time I look at you, I see constellations in your eyes. Remember our first night there underneath the moon? I thought I'd fade away, but then I saw you. You took my hand and showed me how the stars glow and move. When I felt so lonely, you taught me I could shine too. And every night since then, I've wondered what to do, to show you that I'm grateful and will always love you. So I'll buy you a telescope, etch our names on the side, and I'll write you this love song that I'll sing to you tonight. Um, so that's as much of a it's as much of a song as a poem, and it's just really sweet. And thank you. I appreciate the compliment. I've been trying to work on my voice a little bit. My voice got a little higher pitched than it naturally is for a little while, and especially when I'm reading, I think it's a little bit better. But I've been trying to work on my voice, so it's nice to hear. It's nice to hear a compliment about it. I'm glad it's soothing. Um, I appreciate that. So one more poem from me, and then I will bid thee all adieu. Um, Here it is. I won't ask you to unbreak me. Jonas, oh my goodness, Jonas, I just read your poem like 2 seconds ago. You just missed it. I'm sorry. Um, but I'm glad I got to read it. I plugged your you're totally fine. I plugged your lockdown prompts that you've been doing to everybody, so you might get a couple more entries maybe. Pretty much everybody in the crowd is poets and they're very talented, so you got that to look forward to at least. Um, but I gotta run along in a couple minutes because I've got helping friends things to prepare for. I'm doing a podcast that's got a deadline. Um, but I'm gonna read one more poem of mine and then I'm gonna say farewell. I won't ask you to unbreak me. No person can move the clock's hand back and undo what time has touched. I won't ask you to mend me. That is work that only my hands can know how to do. All I will ask of you is that you stay a while longer. Uh, so yeah, it's short and sweet, but I think it's kind of an important message. Oh no, I'm sorry that Twitch every so often Twitch gets a little glitchy. That's that's just I guess one of the costs of doing business with any website, especially when so many people are streaming right now and so many people are tuning in for streams right now because there's not a lot else to do. Um, but thanks for trying, and I appreciate that. And yeah, I try to share as much of people's work as I can, and I'm really excited to just kind of see how things go as the stream goes. I didn't normally I try to give it 2 days advance notice instead of one. I try to get a couple more poems going, but I am a forgetful lady, and I've had stuff on my plate, so that's just kind of I'm learning to do the logistics thing. I'm getting better at it. It's just it takes time. Um, in the meantime, I'm just gonna drop some stuff at the end. You know how it goes. You gotta plug the links. If you want to check out my chapbooks, I have a couple of poetry chapbooks that are they're all exclusive. They're poems that have never been seen before. with the exception of my very first one, but that was all right. But I've made some really beautiful ones since then that tell stories as well as being poems. A lot of them are a bit more like fantasy um, or mythology based. Um, so you can get to those either through my Ko-fi with a one-time tip, which will give you a handful, or through my Patreon. And one of the perks of joining my Patreon is that you get all of them. There's other stuff you get for Patreon too, but that's one of the things. And right now, oh, also right now with Patreon, I'm doing all patron requests. I'm doing pretty much all of them because I'm trying to catch up on videos that I owe my patrons. So now instead of like requesting it and maybe getting the video, if you request it, you'll pretty much definitely get the video unless it's something that bothers me um, personally. But I don't think you guys are gonna give me those kinds of problems. So I think it's fine. Um, if you didn't already follow me on Tumblr, that's right here. I probably should start putting my. I've got a little like virtual sticky note where I've got my links, and I really should put my Twitter and Instagram links in there as well. But it is what it is. And most importantly today, I have my poetry and writing and creative things and fiction and sometimes baking and photography and all kinds of stuff group chat right here in Discord. I would love it if you check out my community. I know there's people here that are not in my community yet, and it would be really sweet if you joined. We're building something really beautiful and building a nice little support network, and yeah, I'm very grateful. Um, so yeah, that's it for me for today. It was really nice getting to spend this time with you guys and hang out a little bit and read some of your beautiful work. And I'm very glad that I've started doing this. This has been a major source of joy for me, um, and I will continue it as long as people want to send me their work. So yeah, let me know if I haven't read you yet. Give me a heads up. I usually pick something off of a person's blog instead of like taking a specific poem because that way I can kind of cultivate a little bit more of. I don't do a theme, but I just kind of want to have a little bit of a cohesive vibe. And so yeah, let me know if you want me to read something of yours, or if you have friends that you think that I should read. I can't just read their stuff; they've got to give me permission. But just let me know. You can message me, and yeah, thank you. Thanks for being here with me today. It was really wonderful. Take care, everyone.